Welcome. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey into the world of Russian literary history, focusing on one of its most enigmatic works, the Lay of Igor's Campaign. This medieval epic has inspired generations, not only for its poetic beauty, but also for the complex web of translations it has spawned. Our story centers on Nikolay Yazvitsky's 1812 translation, a work that, for years, was considered secondary and stylistically weak. But is there more to this translation than meets the eye? Let's unravel the mystery behind Yazvitsky's approach, his influences, and the true originality of his work. For Yazvitsky's version, several translations of the Lay of Igor's Campaign had already appeared. The first was a prose translation published alongside the original, followed by Alexander Shishkov's 1805 prose version, Ivan Siryakov's 1803 poetic translation, and Alexander Palitsin's 1807 poetic rendition. Each translator brought a unique style and interpretation, shaping the evolving tradition of rendering this ancient text into modern Russian. Understanding this backdrop is crucial, as it sets the stage for Yazvitsky's own choices and the debates that would follow regarding his sources and originality. Yazvitsky's translation, published in 1812, was the fifth overall and the third poetic version of the lay. Despite its early appearance, it was long overshadowed by other translations, often dismissed as derivative or lacking in style. Critics like Efya Prima called it mediocre, and most scholars believed Yazvitsky relied heavily on Shishkov's prose. However, recent research suggests a more nuanced story. Yazvitsky's work, while influenced by predecessors, also contains unique elements and decisions that reflect his own literary vision and the cultural context of his time. For decades, the prevailing view was that Yazvitsky's main source was Shishkov's prose translation. This belief was reinforced by Yazvitsky's own praise for Shishkov in his preface, and the fact that his translation was published in a journal closely associated with Shishkov. Yet, a closer look at the text reveals a different story. Many of Yazvitsky's choices align more closely with Ivan Siryakov's little-known poetic translation from 1803. This discovery challenges long-held assumptions and opens up new questions about literary borrowing and influence in early 19th century Russia. Detailed textual analysis shows that Yazvitsky borrowed extensively from Siryakov, often echoing his word choices, phrases, and even unique poetic constructions. Out of 218 analyzed fragments, 74 show clear parallels between Yazvitsky and Siryakov, far more than with Shishkov. Some similarities could be explained by shared poetic forms, but many are too specific to be coincidental. For example, both use the phrase, sabers gleaming, and introduce unique epithets not found in the original or other translations. This evidence strongly suggests that Siryakov's translation was a primary source for Yazvitsky. Interestingly, some similarities between Yazvitsky and Siryakov can be traced back to even earlier sources, such as the first prose translation or folkloric expressions popularized by writers like Karamzin. This points to a broader literary tradition where translators drew from a common pool of motifs and phrases. However, the sheer number of unique overlaps between Yazvitsky and Siryakov indicates more than just shared tradition. It suggests direct influence. This scene highlights how literary works evolve through both communal inspiration and individual creativity. Despite the extensive borrowing, Yazvitsky's translation is not merely a copy. He introduces original elements, such as unique metaphors, ideological emphases, and structural innovations. For instance, he often omits passages that describe defeat or focus on minor historical figures, instead highlighting the heroism of Russian princes. Some of his poetic choices, like the use of certain meters or the integration of the preface into the poem, reflect his own artistic vision and the patriotic spirit of his era, especially in the context of the Napoleonic Wars. The new understanding of Yazvitsky's translation forces us to reconsider his place in Russian literary history. Rather than a mere imitator, he emerges as a creative participant in a dynamic tradition of adaptation and reinterpretation. His selective borrowing from Siryakov, combined with his own innovations, demonstrates how translation can be both an act of homage and a vehicle for personal expression. This reevaluation also sheds light on the collaborative and sometimes contentious nature of literary production in the early 19th century. In conclusion, the story of Yazvitsky's translation of the Lay of Igor's Campaign reminds us of the importance of looking beyond surface judgments. By examining the intricate relationships between translations, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of literary history. Yazvitsky's work, once dismissed as secondary, now stands as a testament to the rich interplay of influence, creativity, and tradition. As we continue to explore the past, let's remember that every text has its own story, waiting to be uncovered.